Good morning, everybody. Do you have in your home a promise box? Not unlike this. This is a promise box. We have one in our home in East Cliff. What is a promise box? Well, I was brought up on promise boxes. And a promise box is a little box that contains usually 365 promises from the Bible. And so every Sunday lunchtime, the promise box would be put on the lunch table, and at a point in the meal, we would take the promise box. And the idea is that you take these promises, and there are 365 little pieces, or probably half of that, and there's a promise on each side of the little piece of paper. And then we would take a promise and we would read it, and that, we were told, was God's promise for you, for me, for the week. So, for instance, I've just taken one out here, Psalm 119, verses 16 or 165. Great peace have they which love thy law. And I don't know whether to be honest, whether we paid at that young age, whether we paid much attention to the promises, but it was certainly a memorable practice. Now, I remember a story of a guy who was on a sea cruise, and he was violently ill, and he used to spend a lot of time up on the deck, hurling into the sea. And at one moment, he remembered he had a promise box down in his cabin, so he staggered down to the cabin, scratched around in his case, and after a moment he grabbed hold of his promise box and he staggered back up on deck just in time before he hurls into the ocean again. And then, somewhat tentatively, he opens his promise box and takes out a promise. And it was a wonderful promise for a man being seasick. And he looked at it, and it was from Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and verse 1. Cast your bread unto the waters, and after many days it will return to you. And he just manages to reach over the railing and hurl into the ocean once again. But think about that promise. Ecclesiastes 11 and verse 1. Cast your bread unto the water, and after many days it shall return unto you. Now, that has got nothing to do with being seasick, but it has everything to do with being generous. Generous in who you are, generous in your friendships, generous in your smiles, generous in your courtesy towards all men and women, being someone who notices others, someone who says thank you, just giving of yourself to others. Cast your bread, give of yourselves, cast your bread unto the waters, and after many days it will return unto you. And if every child of God, every Christian in this town or wherever you stay, said, today I'm going to cast my bread into this community, I'm going to be open, I'm going to be generous, my goodness, what blessing will accrue to Hermanus, what blessing will accrue to you at the end of the day, not even to speak of the blessing that you will impart to others. Ecclesiastes chapter 11 and verse 1, cast your bread unto the waters, and after many days it shall return unto you. A thought for the day. God be with you.